Well, I was going to make cookies. I really was. Two things. The only reason I'm not making them for two reasons, right? Because one, I might eat them all. It's the weekend. I mean, it's Friday. I have cravings, so I might eat them all. Second one is I only have a small bit of real butter that's left, and I want to save it. So I won't be making cookies tonight. But normally I would make like ginger cookies or peanut butter ginger, something like that, right? Cinnamon and ginger, cinnamon and peanut butter, something like that. But I'm not. So I'm going to make crackers. And I made stone mill crackers the other day. I put chia seeds and sesame seeds in. So I'm going to do a semblance of the same thing, but I'm going to put oregano, chia, and sesame in. So I've got everything laid out here except for my sesame. It's white sesame that I got from over at the East Indian store, and it is amazing. And chia seeds, and I got them I think from the dollar store. So I keep everything in plastic containers because not everybody is clean. So I keep all my food in containers. Okay, so gluten-free flour. Brown rice flour is what I'm using. So 1 3/4 cups of flour. Oops. Oops. And this little ladle, I think it's for making bread or something, but I got it off a thrift store, and it works really good. So I'm gonna take my flour and I'm gonna make sure it's all kind of broke up. All the dry ingredients first, right? So I'm gonna put in 3/4 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, and now just my spices. It's such an easy recipe. Like, it's just, this has got to be the easiest recipe to remember, and that's why I make it. And when I make my cookies, I use the same recipe and just add different ingredients. It just makes it easier. So I'm just gonna eyeball it, right? So maybe a tablespoon of chia seeds. And these are white, they're sesame seeds. Oh, you know what? Sesame seeds and flax seeds mixed together. So I'm just gonna eyeball it. And that's about, I don't know, 2 tablespoons, 3 tablespoons. I don't care. I like them crispy. So, and then the big one is my oregano. And I buy this, you can get like 2 packages for like under $3. So oregano is good for chelation. It helps to get rid of the heavy metals in your body. And we get heavy metals from a lot of things. Get heavy metals from, I have an amalgam filling that I have to get rid of. Okay, so I can't even open this. I need a fork. Amalgam fillings, shampoos have some chemicals in them, underarm deodorant, face powder, things like that, right? They have bits of all sorts of chemicals in them. Why can't I open this? To heck with it. I'm going to cut it. Now I can't find my scissors. I had a hell of a time to open the oregano. I had to cut it. And then after I cut it, I smelt it, and it's very, very strong. It's stronger than the newer one. So this one must have been sitting in the cupboard for a long time. So I might use that for other baking or when I'm doing a roast or something, and I'll use that because it is stronger. I think when it sits longer, it gets older, it has a stronger smell. Like all of us. Okay, so oregano. And I'm just going to eyeball it. Yeah. Then, got to blend it all together. I'm going to try to show you what that looks like. You see that? I'm the only person I know that wears lipstick at night. It's nighttime. It is. You know, sometimes when you're old, you kind of feel like lonely. You feel lonely. You feel bored. And so what do? You get dolled up. When I'm bored, I'll try on my clothes to see how much weight I've lost. Yeah. I actually woke up this morning, I was 127 pounds. So if I keep to my strict diet, my OMAD, then I will wake up tomorrow 3 pounds lighter. Okay, so we're going to see. But tonight I had, what did I have? I had a soup with a pork roast in it, with sliced up pork roast. So I had, no, actually, what I did is I had saved some of the pork roast. I made a gravy out of it. And I had some potatoes with a little bit of pork roast on top of it. And what else have I had? That's it. I had potatoes and pork roast gravy. And it was good. And lots of pepper. Lots. I even put cayenne in my my gravy. Yeah, turned out really good. Okay, so this looks okay, but I might have to put I might put some more sesame seeds in it. Yeah, because they kind of form a bed and they make it really crispy, real crunchy. I like that, and it's good to have in the morning instead of having bread with your bacon or your eggs. And this weekend I am going to have breakfast for supper at 2 o'clock. So I'm going to have bacon and eggs and crackers instead of bread. So just preparing ahead of time. I don't normally make a fool of myself on the internet. Well, maybe sometimes I do. But I want to do the gum stimulation with the red laser, right? But I can't, well, I can afford it. I've saved for it. So I can afford it, but I'm not able to get it at this point. I have to wait like a week or so. So I thought, well, red laser, the cat has a red laser game. So I tried it. I used it in my mouth, on my bottom teeth. And you know what? It worked. It worked. I actually noticed that the inflammation on my bottom gums went down like quite a bit. It went down quite a bit. So I really, truly believe that I might be able to save them if I can get the gum stimulator. So we're going to try that. Okay. So everything's mixed up together here. Now I'm going to put in, it's 1/3 cup of virgin olive oil. And I am going to make sure I get all that oil out because oil is so expensive. Virgin olive oil, oh my God. The bottle I got cost me $12, and that was at a cheap store. That was at one of the cheaper stores. I'll show you. This one here. Yeah, so it was the cheapest that I could buy. It was like $12. Some of them are $30 a bottle. Like, it's crazy. It's just crazy. But I do use a lot of it, so. Okay, so I've got my good old spoon. I'm going to mix that up a little bit. Now you're going to see I get my hands right in there, so I'll be taking off this sweater. Yeah, so. And then I put in 1/2 cup of water. That's it. That's all. That's all you do. That's it. Yeah, and then you just mix it. Now I did have that spoon with all the holes in it, so I should have used that, but I wanted to get this all kind of put together, so we'll go back to using that. Don't worry about the fingers, the hands are clean, but nobody eats this except for me anyway. I don't get a lot of company. I'm a bit of, what's the word? A loner. I'm a bit of a loner. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. I really am. Okay, so it just kind of looks crumbly, right? So, but it works. So I'm gonna have to put some flour on the board here, on the cupboard. Yeah, the cupboard. So then I just get my hands in there. I'm going to take my ring off, though. I'll tell you something about me. So I'm not rich, right? So this ring, look at this ring. This is costume jewelry, okay? And it's missing a couple of stones, but I think it's pretty. And I feel naked without something on that ring finger, and so I wear it. And it's missing stones. Like it's not expensive. It's like $1. And I think I got it at the junk store. Yeah. I actually had some jewelry stolen on me, and I had a wrist cuff, and I actually still have it. I had a wrist cuff that had a stone on it, and the stone was on it so thick, so tight that it was beautiful. It was beautiful. I wore it all the time. Well, let me show you something. Okay. So, I had a beautiful, beautiful wristband that I wore all the time. Okay? I want to show you this. This is how untrustworthy people are. And it was someone that I knew. Yeah, it was someone I knew. And I know they did it. And I know when they did it. I had a stroke. I was in rehab for 5 months. I wasn't home for 5 months, okay? So, this was the wrist cuff. See this? This is costume jewelry, okay? So, who these thieves are, they're idiots. They're idiots. Because they didn't realize that this was costume jewelry. They went into my jewelry box, which is just a plastic bin with my jewelry in it. Cheap jewelry. Costume jewelry. Costume jewelry. Oh my God. And they took this out and they literally broke it off. And when they broke it off, they didn't realize that it was costume jewelry until they got it off, right? And that's what they did. And they just left it like that. They left it like that. So I'm thinking I can't get it soldered back on. I mean, it was soldered on there. It was solid. You couldn't pry it off. And I haven't tried. I didn't want to pry it. I liked it. I wore it all the time. Okay, so now what I have to do is I'm going to have to try to hot glue it to get it on there. But think about it. Hot glue, it gets cold and it will literally, it'll snap off, right? So I'm going to see if I can find someone, maybe at the local high school, to solder that together for me. But can you believe that? Can you believe that? Like, the truth is, thieves nowadays are idiots. They're idiots. If you're going to steal something, like, holy crap, don't be stealing costume jewelry. Like, you know what I mean? So it's just ridiculous. But anyway, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll this up, and then I'm going to put it in the fridge and let it sit for a while. Because when you put it in the fridge, it'll actually hold its shape better, right? So, and then I roll it out and I make thin crackers, and that's what it looks like. That's what the dough looks like. And the crackers are amazing. They're amazing. I was going to make ginger cookies. And I know what I'm like. And I put pepper in my ginger cookies. I put lots of pepper. And they're really kind of tangy, spicy, right? And they're really good. And I make them crispy. Yeah. So they don't last too long. So maybe the good Lord up above is trying to save my butt and making sure that I don't have enough butter to make them. Because think about it, right? Butter, cholesterol. I had heart problems, right? The good thing is that ginger is anti-inflammatory, and pepper opens up your cells so that your body can take in the nutrients and what you need from the ginger, right? The anti-inflammatory properties of the ginger. So, but I love ginger cookies. I love them. My mother used to make amazing ginger snaps, and she would put raisins in them. Like, my mom could cook up a storm. She was a good cook. I'll give her that much. That's what comes from, growing up in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, is that you learn these things. You learn how to cook. Sometimes the stores are a little bit out of hand with their prices, but usually cookies and things like that, they have them on the lower end because they want to sell them. They want to encourage you to eat that sugar. And, they flavor it so that you buy more and more and more, and it works. It works. Okay, so I'm going to put this in the fridge. I'm going to leave it, and then I'll show you when I'm rolling it out. And it makes about 4 dozen. And this will be, in a week, I've made 3 dozen. I go through them very quick. So I'll be back. Almost done. So I have this right there. This is almost full. I have eaten a few. Some in the oven, so 4 dozen. I made 4 dozen, and I made some big ones to have with my eggs tomorrow and my bacon tomorrow, so for my one meal. So I'm going to show you. Yeah, so it takes about, I don't know, it takes about 5 minutes for them to cook, not very long. And they are crispy. They are very crispy. So I'll show you one, because I don't want to eat them all. And I would. Listen. They're good. They're not as crispy as the ones I made yesterday. Yeah. It's all gone. So they're not as crispy as the ones I made the other day, but I think I put a little bit more oil in these ones than I put in the ones yesterday. The other day I made oregano. These ones I have chia and sesame seeds in them. And these ones I think I put a little bit more oil. Usually I put 1/3 cup of oil, and I think I put just a tad bit more because they're not as crispy. Anyhow, they are good. Have to be very careful watching them because they burn very quickly. Because they're cut very thin, so I'll show you. Some of them got pretty dark. But they're still good. They're still good. Nothing goes to waste in my house. Yeah, so some of them are dark, but I like my crackers dark. So that's not bad. So that's about 4 dozen crackers. So that's a good thing. And, you know, it's getting on into the evening, and I was bored and I was lonely, and so, you know, I put a couple of dresses on, put some makeup on, and I thought, geez, I'm still bored, so I made some cookies. Well, I wanted to make cookies, but I didn't have butter. So I did have olive oil, so I thought, okay, I'll just make some crackers. Same difference, right? So, and I don't have any bread left, so tomorrow when I have my bacon and eggs for supper tomorrow at 2 o'clock, I'm going to have some of this bread because it's gluten-free, right? So I did make some that are bigger, and I'll show them to you. You can make them into flatbread. So these are just the remnants that are left, but look at the size of them. Yeah. Those ones I made them longer and thicker, and they're easier to dip. The smaller ones are good for like soups and things like that. And I do go through them quite fast because they're thin and they're good and they're crispy. So now your parchment paper, it can be reused. I used to keep it in the freezer, but these ones I'm going to toss out because this is the second time that I've used them, and so they get very thin, and so these ones can go in the garbage. But I do utilize them more than once, and after I'm done with them, I put them in the freezer, and they just stay good until the second time I use them. I only use them twice. So. Okay, all done. It's actually 5 dozen crackers, chia seeds and sesame seeds, but they are amazing. And these are the big ones. They're like flatbread. And these I'm going to eat with my eggs and bacon tomorrow. So they're long, they're crispy. These are still hot. Like I said, they get a little dark if I'm not careful. So, but these ones are very crispy. Minus a chunk. So I made 3 of them. But the crackers are all done. And I'm going to put it on my new shelving unit that I scored from the garbage outside. And I'm going to take you over to show you. It's the only camera I got, so. Okay, let's see if I can show you. So I scored that from outside. Fits perfect. Right to the bottom. Have my crock pot, all my dehydrator, my microwave. I don't use my microwave very often anymore, but it fit perfectly. Perfectly. So sometimes you got to be frugal, and it works, and it helps. I was thinking about having a cupboard for in between the wall and the fridge, and I was thinking maybe I'll check out the thrift stores, and I go to the store across the road, and as I'm coming back, someone threw out the shelving unit. I missed the ladder. Someone did take the ladder, and there was an antique desk there that I would have loved to get my hands on. I would have sanded it, I would have painted it, maybe even clear varnished it. It was beautiful, but I left it too long. Someone did take it. It was a score, though. It was a very good score. And what happens is when the units are cleared out, they take the stuff that's in there that isn't of any use to them, and they throw it outside. And that's when we score. But you always have to be careful and spray it down good, clean it, wash it, and paint it, right? Or varnish it. Because any little critters, you'll varnish them right into the wood. Anyway, so I'm done my crackers. I'm done everything. I'm going to clean up my dishes, and that's the end of it for me. I'm going to have a warm tea before I go to bed, and that's it. Actually, I'm having a chamomile tea, so I need to sleep tonight. The neighbors are being quieter now, and so now's a good time to hit the hay. So I'm going to clean up, and off I go. I might do some puzzles before I go to bed. That's about it. Maybe a little bit of TV, but probably not. So have a good night, and I shall see you on the next video. The good Lord be willing. Bye-bye.